A friend admitted to a gruesome murder during a rave while high a year ago or so. I met this guy at a rave in the UK, introduced to him by a mutual friend. We'll call our mutual friend Jim, and the man in question, Joe. Joe had trained boxing for a while like myself, so we had a sense of respect for each other instantly. Over the next few months, would see him at other raves, and gradually, of course, he became a little more than just a random acquaintance. Usually, he would attend with Jim, so there was often a natural inclination to go up and speak to them. At one particular event at the end of last year, I saw Jim and asked why he wasn't with Joe at this event. It was quite unusual for them to not be together. He had told me they were no longer friends and that he wanted to distance himself as much as possible, become of some sort of serious situation Joe had got himself into. He didn't share more, and it seemed like the wrong place to start investigating, so Elle just brushed it off. Then in February 2026, I went to a rave and saw Joe, at which point he was heavily under the influence of a cocktail of drugs, probably ketamine, MDMA, and alcohol at least. We briefly spoke, the standard, "You all right" convo. Then I mentioned that I was aware he and Jim were no longer friends. At this point, he glanced at me with a disoriented stare that seemed to go through me. He mentioned that most of his friends wanted nothing to do with him anymore, and that he had killed someone. At this point, I laugh off as some sort of joke. He grabbed me by the shoulders and said he was dead serious. But even then, I couldn't believe it. This part of the venue wasn't too loud, so I could very easily hear what he was saying. Then he began going into grave detail of how it played out. He received a call from his mother, who was walking home late at night from a pub alone. I believe she was at a work party. There was a man who was following her home, and he crossed the road exactly when she did in a suspicious manner more than once. Joe said that she called him terrified, and he and his brother went out in their company work van to go sort the situation out. When they arrived, the man was still following and was seemingly not fazed by their presence. They grabbed this man and put him into the van. I'm not sure what happened with his mother after this point. Joe then proceeded to torture him in the back of the van while his brother drove, beating him with a hammer and questioning him. They drove to a wooded area and initially didn't plan on killing him. But after beating him brutally for the journey, they decided letting him go at this point was too risky. They used work tools to kill and partially dismember him in the back, and then buried him in a very specific forest of which name I knew. The story was seemingly so descriptive and fluid that it actually shook me. After I'm sure he could see some discomfort in my face, at which point he quickly said that he should be able to trust me, and that I'm one of his best friends. Which is not true at all, as I barely know this person outside of a party environment. Recently, I saw an article that partial human remains were found in this exact forest, which is the reason I'm making this post. I'm not really looking for advice, and I don't really plan on reporting this because the headache would be too much if it was just a big lie.